In the heart of Manila's slums, where rusted tin roofs echo the rhythm of the rain and laughter is a luxury few can afford, lived a boy named Elijah Santos. He was only 14, but his eyes carried stories that no child should ever know. Every morning before dawn, Elijah would push his battered cart through the narrow alleys, collecting empty bottles and scrap metal. His small hands were always cut and bruised, yet he never complained. He had one dream, a dream so impossible it almost hurt to believe in it. Elijah wanted to sing. His late father used to say, "Son, the world may take everything from you, your home, your food, your clothes, but never let it take your sighing." Those words were all he had left after a drunk driver ended his father's life 2 years ago. Since then, Elijah's mother had fallen ill, and the only thing keeping their tiny home standing was his daily struggle to earn enough for her medicine. At night, after feeding his mother rice soaked in salt water, Elijah would sit outside under an old wooden crate. Under the flickering glow of a streetlight, he'd hum softly songs he heard from a neighbor's radio. The one that spoke to him most was Hotel California by the Eagles. He didn't know what the words really meant, but something about that haunting melody wrapped around his heart like a promise. He would whisper, "Someday, Mama, someday I'll sing this song on a real stage." One day, as fate would have it, a local talent scout passed through the slum, filming clips of street life for a documentary. He stopped when he heard Elijah's voice, raw, pure, and painfully beautiful. The scout asked, "Kid, where did you learn to sing like that?" Elijah smiled shyly. "I didn't. I just sing." The man saw something in the boy, something rare. He told Elijah about a televised singing competition happening in the city. The prize? Enough money to change their lives forever, but the entry required a recording, a clean outfit, and transportation. Things Elijah could only dream of. Still, that night, he told his mother. Her eyes, tired but full of love, sparkled for the first time in months. "Elijah, maybe it's time your song is heard." So he sold his cart, his only source of income, to pay for a borrowed guitar and a ride to the auditions. When he left the slum that morning, barefoot and nervous, the entire neighborhood gathered to wish him luck. They all knew he wasn't just singing for himself, he was singing for every forgotten soul who ever dared to dream. The audition hall was massive, bright lights, cameras, people in designer clothes. Elijah felt out of place, clutching his scratched guitar like a shield. The judges, sitting behind a long table, looked bored after hours of listening to polished voices and rehearsed smiles. When his turn came, one of them raised an eyebrow. "Name?" Elijah Santos. "Ma'am, you may begin." The room fell silent as he strummed the first chords of Hotel California. His fingers trembled, but his voice, oh, his voice, was a river of emotion. Every note carried the weight of his struggle. Every lyric painted the picture of his life, trapped in a place that felt like paradise, but was really a cage. "Welcome to the Hotel California." His voice cracked once, but instead of faltering, he closed his eyes and poured his heart into the song. In that moment, Elijah wasn't a poor boy from the slums, he was the song itself. The judges leaned forward, their expressions softening, their eyes glistening. The audience, once restless, grew still. By the final verse, tears streamed down the face of the head judge, a woman known for her toughness. When he finished, the entire hall rose to their feet. A standing ovation. The judge wiped her tears and whispered, "That wasn't just a performance, that was a prayer." Elijah stood frozen. He didn't understand applause like that. He was used to silence, not thunderous claps. The host came running to the stage, his voice trembling. "Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just witnessed something extraordinary." Then, without warning, the golden confetti burst from above, the golden buzzer. Elijah fell to his knees, crying uncontrollably. The judges rushed to him, hugging him as the crowd roared. Cameras zoomed in on his tear-streaked face. "Mama," he whispered into the mic, "we did it." A few days later, the video of his audition went viral. Millions watched the barefoot boy sing with a voice that touched the heavens. Donations poured in. A hospital offered free treatment for his mother. The same neighbors who once struggled beside him gathered around a tiny TV, cheering, crying, praying. But what truly changed Elijah wasn't fame or money, it was kindness. One of the judges, the woman who had cried during his song, quietly paid to enroll him in a music academy. "You have a gift, Elijah," she said. "And the world needs to hear it." Months later, Elijah stood on the grand stage of the finale, now confident but still humble. He looked into the lights, took a deep breath, and whispered, "This is for my father, and for every kid who's ever been told they were too poor to dream." He sang again, this time, not with pain, but with gratitude. And as the final note echoed through the auditorium, everyone knew they had just witnessed something divine. When they announced his name as the winner, Elijah didn't raise his trophy high. Instead, he looked at the sky and whispered, "Thank you." Today, his voice continues to echo across the world. But Elijah never forgot where he came from. He built a small music school in his old neighborhood, teaching kids who, like him, had nothing but dreams. And every night, as he closes his eyes, he remembers that rainy street corner, the rusted roofs, his mother's smile, and the song that changed everything. Because sometimes the greatest music doesn't come from wealth or fame. It comes from a heart that has known hunger, pain,